Purple Mountain, a story of the rape of Nanking, originally titled When the Purple Mountain Burns, by Shouhua Qi, narrated by Shouhua Qi, to the memory of the hundreds of thousands of souls who suffered and perished in my hometown during the long winter of 1937-1938. To the reader, this novel tells the story of the events that occurred in my hometown during the winter of 1937-1938. Told from multiple viewpoints, it focuses on the day before the Japanese army entered Nanking, then the capital of China, and the first 6 days of the reign of terror that followed. Throughout, I have relied on letters, testimonials, survival accounts, diaries, and other documents made available through the work of many scholars, journalists, and others in China, Japan, and the United States. A few of the main characters, John Robbie, Minnie Vautrin, Robert Wilson, are actual historical figures. The others are fictional. My own grandfather, the most kind-hearted soul I have had the privilege to know, is the prototype of Grandpa in the novel. The rest is my imagination. His hand that yet remains upon her breast root ram to better such an ivory wall may feel her heart, poor citizen, distressed, wounding itself to death, rise up and fall, beating her bulk that his hand shakes withal. This moves in him more rage and less pity to make the breach enter this sweet city. Shakespeare, The Rape of Lucchesi. The student Fan Chi asked the master what 人, humanness, means. To love fellow humans, Confucius replied, the Analects. Prologue. On August 1st, 1894, the Empire of Japan declared war on China over Korean conflicts. The war lasted until April 1895, when China ceded Taiwan, the Pescadores, and the Liaodong Peninsula. On September 18, 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, the northeastern provinces of China, and installed the puppet state known as Manchukuo. On July 7, 1937, Japanese troops instigated the Marco Polo Bridge incident in Wanping, a city southwest of Peking. An all-out invasion of China soon followed. By July 30, 1937, Japanese troops had occupied Peking and Tianjin. On August 13, 1937, the Imperial Army's Shanghai Expeditionary Force landed on the south bank of the Yangtze River. Shanghai fell 3 months later. By December 11, 1937, 6 divisions of the Central China Expeditionary Force, commanded by General Matsuri Iwan and supported by hundreds of warplanes, tanks, and battleships, advanced to the city walls of Nanking. They had launched massive, fierce assaults on the city from air, land, and sea. The southward band of the Yangtze River outside the western sections of the city walls cut off all escape routes, and the rising sun could be seen flapping in the gusting wind on the high points in the immediate outskirts of the city. Sun Roost Mountain in the northeast, Green Dragon Mountain in the east, and Heavenly Seal Mountain in the southeast. Through the morning haze on December 12, 1937, from the 1,314-foot summit of the Purple Mountain in the east, frontline units of the Japanese Imperial Army could see Nanking spread out before them, ready to be taken. Nanking, or Nanjing, meaning the southern capital in Chinese, founded during the reign of the Qing Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China, 221 to 206 BC, is approximately the size of a Manhattan island. It has been the capital city of 10 dynasties and rulers from Sun Quan of the Three Kingdoms 222 to 280 to the nationalist government of Dr. Sun Yat-sen 1912 and later Chiang Kai-shek 1927 to 1937, 1945 to 1949. The city was built and rebuilt for defensive purposes through long periods of war and prosperity took their current shape during the reign of the Hongwu Emperor 1368 to 1399, founder of the Ming Dynasty. The walls are about 20 miles in circumference and range between 40 and 70 feet in height. The city has 13 gates, the better known of which are Sun Yat-sen Gate and Heavenly Peace Gate in the east, Waterfront Gate in the northwest, Han Central Gate and Water West Gate in the west, and China Gate and China Glory Gate in the south. Nanking is surrounded by more than a dozen mountains of various heights. The most famed among these is the majestic Purple Mountain right outside of the easterly Sun Yat-sen and Heavenly Peace Gates. In the city's immediate outskirts are the hallowed mausoleums of the Hongwu Emperor, Dr. Sun Yat-sen, and numerous Buddhist temples. At the feet of the northeastern sections of the wall lies the A3 Lotus Lake, its 5 islets covered with rare trees, blossoming flowers, green grass, and alive with birds year-round. Nestled inside the city walls are the Warrior Knot Lake with its exquisite mid-lake and lakefront pavilions and several other smaller lakes. A tributary of the legendary Hongwu River flows into the city. For centuries, its banks bustling with eateries, hotels, art and antique shops, pleasure boats filled with sing-song girls and poets. Its air quivering with titillating fragrances night and day, rain or shine, oblivious to the bewildered gaze of the sacred temple of Confucius. At the time of the story, the city had a population of around 1 million, boasted 10 colleges and universities, of which Jingling College for Women and the University of Nanking, both founded by American missionaries, were the best known. Hundreds of secondary and elementary schools, temples, churches, mosques, and numerous business offices, marketplaces, and foreign embassies. The main arteries of transportation were Sun Yat-sen Boulevard, which ran through the heart of the city and connected Waterfront Gate at the northeastern tip with the southernmost China Gate, and Sun Yat-sen Boulevard East and Han Central Boulevard, which linked the eastern and western parts of the city. Modern and ancient, Chinese and foreign, old and new, rich and poor, beautiful and ignoble, one and all, had been living side by side, jostling along uneasily. On the morning of December 12, 1937, hundreds of thousands of civilians and soldiers who had not evacuated were trapped inside the city walls. All the gates were closed.